Alright guys, I am back with my review of this week's WWE Monday Night Raw for June 10th, 2013. I have to say I didn't really care much for this show. This one really dragged on for me. It took me 3 days to watch this shit. Did not hype me for the pay-per-view. I don't know what's going on with Vince McMahon and Triple H. It's like a lame comedy routine now. Like there's some lame comedy duo, and they have this backstage shtick where one guy wants one thing and the other guy doesn't, and then they switch it around. It's horrible. And it actually reminded me a lot of TNA's Hulk Hogan, Brooke Hogan, Bully Ray crap. Just taking over the show. Which normally I like because I'm a fan of Vince McMahon, but here it was just, what the hell were they thinking with this stuff? So the show starts off with Triple H versus Curtis Axel, like we've all been waiting for. Like that's even something to anticipate to begin with. But they go for the match, and I'm thinking, wow, they're really going to do the match, but there's got to be some type of shenanigans. So Vince McMahon comes out, he does his power walk, he's all happy. He gets the announcer, and he says, first, the guy didn't want to stand up, so he's like, stand up. And then he says, Curtis Axel wins as a result of a disqualification, and he has them ring the bell. And Triple H is like, what the hell? And Vince walks away all happy. Now, if Vince McMahon is doing this for Triple H's own good, why is he acting so happy about screwing him over? If he's doing it for his health and his family. So, it gets worse. So Triple H goes down and he says, I'm the COO, I want this match restarted. They restart the match. Vince turns around, he's like, what the hell? So he walks back down there and he says, this time Curtis Axel wins by forfeit. So Curtis Axel beats Triple H twice in one night, which I guess is supposed to get this guy over, who the hell knows. And he leaves again. Triple H goes and says, this time it's going to be restarted as a 60-minute Iron Man match. Thank God this didn't happen. And then Vince walks back and he just takes the microphone and the bell and says, tells Curtis Axel to leave the ring. And that was it. So throughout the show, they keep going back to this whole damn Vince McMahon Triple H crap. Backstage, Stephanie's begging Triple H, please don't hurt him. The acting on the show, and Triple H was almost summoning the spirit of Zandig with his "oh ma." He was just so pissed off. But she's like, please don't hurt him, and he tells her to go talk to Vince. Jesus, it's Kane versus Ambrose. Kane goes for the choke slam, and Rollins and Reigns attack him, so Daniel Bryan and Orton run out and chase the Shield away. They announce that the Payback pre-show is Sheamus versus Sandow. They couldn't get this match on the pay-per-view. Sheamus is on the pre-show now. I don't know. I'm not like a huge Sheamus fan at all, but this seems a little ridiculous to me. And the reason it sucks is because it makes Sandow look like shit. It makes it look like Sheamus is kind of downgrading himself by doing a feud with Sandow. Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins is going to happen later thanks to the WWE poll, which got 66%. It was either Bryan versus Reigns or Rollins, and I'm glad they went with Rollins here. Ended up being a fantastic match. Backstage, Bryan's pissed at Orton for RKOing him. Kane says this isn't a fight you want to pick, and Bryan thinks Kane doesn't believe he can beat Orton. Vicky walks up and says that Payback, it's going to be Orton and Daniel Bryan versus Rollins and Reigns, and Kane versus Ambrose for the US title. And then Kane hugs Vicky and was acting kind of creepy, but he was really happy about this. And I don't know if he was happy because, honestly, I can't really remember, but I can't remember if he was happy because he doesn't have to team with Daniel Bryan anymore, or he's happy he's getting a US title shot. Miz versus Barrett at Payback, since Fandango got a concussion, which really sucks because I'm pretty sure they were going to put the belt on him here. Miz versus Cody Rhodes. Barrett's on commentary. Miz wins with the figure 4, very short. Heyman comes out and says even if Fandango can't compete, it's still going to be a triple threat match with Curtis Axel as the third man. And Axel says it's going to be a perfect ending with me as the new Intercontinental Champion. A hype video for Mark Henry returning next week. Backstage, Vince doesn't want to listen to Stephanie. More bad acting. She's crying. He says, he made my baby girl cry. This was just shit. And, she says that he made her cry, and Vince says business comes first, and she needs to keep Triple H away from him. Jericho comes out and says Punk's going to get his best at Payback, and neither of them will ever be the same again. Dolph Ziggler comes out and says no one ever wanted him to win the world title, but he earned it. He starts talking about how he's got to face Del Rio, and Jericho wants to face Dolph tonight, but Dolph sends Big E instead. During the match, Dolph tries to distract Jericho, but Del Rio runs out and attacks Dolph, which distracts Big E. Jericho hits a code breaker for the win. Cesaro versus Sin Cara. Zeb Coulter's on commentary putting over Cesaro, which was kind of weird. I guess maybe they want to bring Cesaro in with Swagger and Zeb, or maybe kick Swagger out and just go with Zeb Coulter and Cesaro. I'm not really sure, but I don't really know why else he was out there. But Cesaro wins with the neutralizer. Wasn't a bad match. Bray Wyatt promo video. Backstage, Vicky is eating some Hardee's, and she won't share with Maddox. Vince comes up and he's pissed off about the face-to-face with Cena and Ryback, and Maddox says, well, we could have the Lumberjacks come out there and for the face-to-face, and Vince thinks it's a great idea and thinks he should get a burger. Orton versus Reigns. Rollins tries to get involved and Daniel Bryan dives on him. Ref rules it a no contest, so then they start Bryan versus Rollins. Great match here, got a lot of time. I think Daniel Bryan went for a chaos theory in this match. Orton stops Reigns from getting involved, and Bryan gets Rollins in a small package for the win. Afterwards, Rollins tries to attack him, and Daniel Bryan kicks him in the head, and Orton RKO's him. Caitlyn comes out to meet her secret admirer. She's in the ring. She says, secret admirer, I'm here. And Big E comes out with some flowers. And I thought maybe, okay, this is it. They're pulling the trigger on turning Big E face. Like, right now, it's happening. He gets in the ring. He says a bunch of crap. I can't even remember. Some bullshit. And then he grabs her like he's going to kiss her and drops her. And AJ's music hits, and AJ comes out to the ring, and she's so happy that Caitlyn's embarrassed. Caitlyn's trying to cry. It was horrible. AJ says that when she was being treated like crap by all these men, Caitlyn was, she wasn't there for her, and she's supposed to be her friend, and now she's doing this to get in her head. And at Payback, she's going to take her title. She calls her a piece of trash, a useless cow, and Caitlyn attacks AJ, and then AJ runs off, and that was it. So the payoff for the secret admirer thing I thought really sucked, but I honestly can't think of anything that would have been better. I mean, the whole secret admirer thing was kind of doomed to fail, in my opinion. But this payoff did suck, and I'm glad it's over. I guess on SmackDown they'll have something with Natalya and Khali talking to Caitlyn to try to make her feel better, something like that. JBL, Cole, and Lawler are absolutely speechless at all this. New Bray Wyatt vignette. The vignettes seem to be getting darker, which is awesome. Sandow versus R-Truth. Sandow hits the silencer for the win. I guess that's his new finisher. It's kind of like a reverse Little Jimmy. Sheamus comes out and says a Payback is going to kick his head off. Stephanie tells some guy backstage to find Vince and tell him that his daughter wants to talk to him about some business and it's urgent. Then she tells another guy to tell Triple H that there's some personal business and it's urgent. So Stephanie has Triple H and Vince in her office and they start fighting. Stephanie tells him to work it out, and Vince says Triple H is bigger than a match with Curtis Axel. Kid's good, but he's bigger than a match with Curtis Axel. And Triple H says, you know what, I get it. And Vince says, but if you want the match, you can have it next week. Triple H says he doesn't want the match anymore. So then Vince says, well, you know what, I'd kind of like to see the match. Triple H says, no, I don't want to do it. Vince's like, well, now I want to see it. Triple H is like, well, I don't want to do it. So they go back and forth. Stephanie comes back in. She has them hug, and they're still angry. I don't know where this is going. It's turning into a joke. Last week I was kind of excited about this. something cool with Vince McMahon and Triple H, but they made it a fucking comedy routine. They turned into a joke, and now I have no interest. So they bring out the Lumberjacks. R-Truth comes out, and he's still selling the knee injury from his match with Sandow, which I thought was a nice touch. Cena comes out, but Ryback stays on the ramp. Cena says that Ryback's scared of him. Ryback says, I could tear through you, all these Lumberjacks, and all these fans if I wanted to. I'm up here for your benefit. And he says that Cena screwed him because he got too good too fast. So Cena says that Ryback's good at making excuses. Ryback says the legend of Cena ends at Payback, and he's going to take his spot. Cena gets pissed off, tries to charge the ramp, but the Lumberjacks keep throwing him back into the ring, but Cena only goes to the side with the heels, so of course the heels are going to throw him back in. I guess Cena hasn't seen too many Lumberjack matches. But eventually Ryback runs into the ring, and before they can start really fighting, all the Lumberjacks separate them, and that's how the show ended. So a really long Raw this week. Not a lot of good stuff here, in my opinion. Daniel Bryan versus Rollins was great, but then you had the ending with the Lumberjacks. Did not hype me up for Payback. I didn't care at all. Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Stephanie were all over this show, which normally I would be okay with if it was good stuff, but it was all crap. And I was actually watching this one with a casual fan, and he could not believe the acting with some of these people. And then when the Caitlyn Big E thing happened, he just lost it. He couldn't believe what he was watching anymore. And it's one of those Raws where you're embarrassed to be a wrestling fan and have a casual fan watching it. Like, you watch this crap every week. It was kind of one of those feelings, like, oh my god, this shit's embarrassing. But yeah, so Raw was, I'd have to say, a little below average this week, which is not good for a go-home show. But anyways, I'll be back later with my predictions for Payback. So hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this week's show in the comments, and thanks for watching.